Fellas, do you like road tripping?
Love it.
I like tripping.
Without the road?
Oh,
I mean, you can
tripping
trip
on the road. Yeah.
There you go. Like Jack Kerouac.
Since we're doing The Hills Have Eyes, and this movie starts off with a family road trip to California gone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Have y'all ever been on a road trip that just went completely south?
Went to San Antonio one time. Is that kind of south?
Bow. All right.
Boom, out the fucking gate.
Let me check the map. That lines up.
You had to check the map for that, ladies and gentlemen.
Sometimes geography can be strange. You never know. Nothing to compare to being attacked by cannibal mutants, but no, nothing like this. I've had your usual snafus, pop tires, terrible weather, bad music, but nothing to relate.
Music.
Oh yeah, you give someone the aux cord and it's just shit, and you're like, oh, give it back. You're terrible.
I was going to say maybe it was your parents playing like Barry Manilow or something for 7 hours.
Also that, yes. When I was a kid, for sure. Our musical taste did not align in the least.
I lived in Corpus Christi and had to go to Lubbock, and that's about 11 and a half hour drive. And my grandma lives up there, so we went back and forth several times. And this is with the days before the cell phone. Didn't have a Game Boy, didn't have Tiger Electronics. I had just had a cheap-ass Walmart cassette player and would just listen to that thing with my 5 recorded tapes over and over for hours upon hours, and I just wanted to gouge my eyes out so I would have no eyes when I got to the hills. But my worst trip is definitely when we road tripped Colorado from Corpus Christi. That was a long-ass drive. And when we got there, the car broke down, and I had to sleep in a tent for 3 weeks while the local mechanic of a tiny Colorado town fixed our car.
Ooh, that sounds like the setup for a Hills Have Eyes
I know,
movie.
it was that close. The only saving grace is they had a game room that had a pool table.
There was a strip club that didn't card.
I was way too young for that. There was a pool table, a Mortal Kombat machine, and a free jukebox that I could play the Beverly Hills theme. I'm sorry, the Beverly Hills Cop theme.
I was like,
All
the
the
Beverly
time.
Hills theme.
Yeah, that was a rough time. But I read the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy in 3 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure the people at that bar was really happy that you were playing the Beverly Hills Cop theme over and over and over again.
I was the only kid at this KOA. There was no one else in there but me and my little brother.
What's a KOA?
Campgrounds of America.
Okay.
Yeah, if you got a tent, you can stay there for $15 a night.
Wait, they're going to charge you to sleep in a tent? Isn't that kind of like you can sleep anywhere with a tent?
You gotta have the ground space, man. And like they do have like toiletries, showers, and things like that.
Oh,
So it's not completely roughing it.
Mortal Kombat machine.
Yeah.
Evidently.
Oh, and one of them NES plays. Remember the arcade units that had all the Nintendo games on it?
No.
Nope.
You don't remember that? You could literally select the Nintendo game?
I saw it in the Wizard, but that's it. I never saw one in the wild.
Oh, yeah. They were cool.
It's like a cryptid to me. It exists, but I've never seen it.
Anyway, what about you, Garrett?
I don't have any shitty travel stories. I mean, I'm sure I've had like some like rough experiences, but I think the only thing that was like mildly annoying is when I got my first car, I had to like go pick it up from Memphis and drive it back to Texas. You know, I don't have any bad travel. Okay, well, in planes, I've had terrible like turbulence where I thought our plane was going to crash, and that lady basically got told to shut the fuck up.
What happened?
Oh, we were in a plane, really bad turbulence. It was honestly the point where I was like, we might actually die here straight up. It was that bad. Flying into South Carolina, and this lady started praying really loud on the plane. One of the guys turned around and was like, ma'am, could you please shut the fuck up?
He was polite about it.
He was very nice about it, but he was like, I can't deal with this right now, more or less. That was it. I mean, honestly, I don't have bad travel experiences. I make the best of it.
Well, count yourself lucky.
Yeah.
Because we're about to see a family that probably got the worst of it.
Yeah, though I will say it's kind of their own
It's
fault.
a story they'll be able to tell their whole lives. So
Some of
what price
them.
can you put on memories?
Half the family, maybe. Hey, all you creatures from cyberspace. Thanks for joining us on another episode of the GraveTalk podcast. My name is Mark. Again, joined with Garrett and John. Fellas, we're back with another one. How y'all doing? And what have you been up to?
Mediocre and nothing.
Oh, mediocre. Are you okay, man?
Life's just life and really hard, but have not had a lot of time to watch shit. So.
I get that. I had a weird, massive depression like 2 weeks ago, and it's been like kicking my ass.
Sucks, man.
Mental health is important, people. Take some time, talk to somebody. You know what? If you know someone who's feeling down, reach out.
Agreed.
Say, hey, just make sure your people are taken care of.
Yeah.
That or they're going to get eaten by cannibals.
Yeah, thankfully, yeah, it's true. This movie helped put my week in perspective. I was not eaten alive. I did not get set on fire. So, things are yet. Well, that's true.
It usually could be worse.
Yes,
right?
exactly. But yeah, not a whole lot to report on this end.
Mark, what have you been up to?
Trying to remember. I don't know.
That exciting, huh?
You know what I did watch? I watched non-horror related things. I watched that Hot Cheetos movie
any
on
good?
Hulu. It was good. But
Was it on Hulu? It's on Disney Plus also.
Is it? Apparently it's all fake, which is depressing.
Aw.
Yeah. He didn't invent the hot Cheeto at all, apparently, according to the company. But
Who are you going to trust?
So like that Stan Lee documentary on Disney Plus where he's like, I created Spider-Man. It's like, fuck you.
probably something like that. I mean, the guy he did move up the ranks in the company, but they said they have no proof that he actually invented the hot Cheeto. So, yeah, other than that, Joe Bob's back. I enjoyed Amsterdam, a Dutch film. Probably the best boat chase I've ever seen. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, just go find that boat chase scene and then play the ending theme song because that thing fucking rocks.
The knife in the raft was nice too.
Oh, yeah, that part was cool too. Some good scenes. What about you, Garrett?
I did actually watch some Hellraiser movies. I started with the one again. Pretty slow movie. I think we need to all acknowledge that Hellraiser 1 is amazing, but a very slow film. Ended up switching right to 4. Burning through 4 through 7. Again,
why would you pick those?
Because I hadn't seen them. I was like, you know what? Let's just watch something I haven't watched a million times. It's still not great. I really do appreciate the 2021 remake or redo, whatever they did on...
The one on Hulu?
Yeah.
That one's good.
That one, honestly, just gets better and better when you start watching the later part of the franchise. So, other than that, just watched a couple non-horror movies also. Finally saw Eternal Sunshine. That was a good flick. What else did I watch? I watched that R. Crumb documentary again.
I've heard things about that.
It's it was an interesting guy.
Yeah.
It's putting it nicely.
That's the Fritz the Cats guy, right?
Yeah, but no, great artist, great artistic mind, fucking weirdo. But anyway, other than that, just same old, man.
You reminded me that while you're trying to catch up on some of the Hellraiser blind spots, I am doing the same with The Purge. I finally watched Election Year. That one sucked.
I saw one with a dude with a skateboard on the front of the cover.
There's a Purge and a skateboard?
It's called Purge Infinity or something like that, or Purge Forever.
I think that's the one that's coming up.
Oh, it's a new one.
Oh, I saw it on like the iTunes.
Oh, maybe it's
Did I
already
say
been
the
released.
iTunes like an old man. It's on the iTunes.
Kids, turn off the Nintendo and come to dinner. It should have been called Purge or Die or Skate or Purge.
I don't know if it revolves around skateboarding, but the character on the front was like a cool dude with a skateboard, and I was like, what? What a terrible getaway vehicle.
How many more of these can we make? They're
As
literally
many
the
as
same.
they will pay
Yeah, I think Election Year Purge was the last one I watched, and I was like, I'm done.
Look,
with
they're on
Purge.
Fast X1, okay?
Good point.
They can go as far as they need to.
The Purge in Texas was pretty good, though. I'm going to give it that. That's the best one I've seen so far. That was the one that came out recently.
Yeah, like I can remember the poster, but I didn't
I
watch
like
it.
a cowboy guy
Yeah.
on a horse or something. Anyway, that
I like how
one's
he
pretty
painted
good.
his horse with the skull on the head.
Yeah, that was
nice.
cool.
Okay.
Well, a little bit of news for you. Friend of the podcast, Emma Murray's got a chapbook coming out, and it's available for pre-order now. It's got illustrations by Caitlin Marceau. If you're a fan of necromantic, raw, or angst, Exquisite Hunger by Emma will probably be right in your wheelhouse. Happy for her
You
to
said
get that out.
Wheelhouse.
Millhouse?
You said Wheelhouse.
Or Wheelhouse.
Wheelhouse is what you meant to say, but I like Wheelhouse.
It's in your wheelhouse. Come on over. You can pick up a paperback at medusahouse.com. That's Haus, medusahouse.com. And that'll be coming out July 18th. You can find more information about everything Emma's up to at her website, emmaemurray.com.
Hear that, listeners? We take payola. Give us some money. We will advertise your shit. Actually, I'm pretty sure the story's going to be awesome because Necromantic was a very interesting, fun movie.
Yeah, you already pre-ordered it, didn't you?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah, and
So you're welcome, Emma.
and she didn't pay us to do this. We're happy to promote any creativity.
Any creativity. I love it.
If it's good or bad, doesn't matter. Be creative, everyone.
Except for you, Jackson Pollock. We know what you're up to. Actually, he's dead, but, you know.
Oh, yeah. Reading the description here, it says, an unnamed narrator encounters her perfectly beautiful neighbor, Carly. She gives into her worst impulses, culminating in an unforgettable conclusion, a sapphic culinary masterpiece with a cannibalistic twist. Now I got to go look up what sapphic means.
Yeah, word of the day.
Anyways, congrats on the release, Emma. Everybody go check that out. Let's get into today's episode, unless you guys got any more news or anything else to bring up.
I'm ready to talk about hills and eyes.
What about feet and oceans?
Maybe, but really, hills and eyes are what I was prepared for.
That's your body part and the part of land masses that you enjoy the most.
You nailed it, exactly.
Okay.
I like a vertebrae plateau.
Okay. Oh. You know what? Yes.
Yeah.
You could walk
Or
along
the
that
back slats,
spine.
if you will.
Hills Have Eyes from 2006 is based on a Wes Craven film of the same name from 1977.
Was Wes Craven the one who did the original?
Yeah. That's when he was barely known at the time.
Oh, a young man.
Yeah, before his Elm Street era.
He'll look a child to you or I.
Currently on Rotten Tomatoes, this one is sitting at a 52% out of 141 reviews with the critics and a 58% with the audience, and that's over 250,000 reviews.
That is like perfect. 58% is about how much of this movie I thought was good. So that's tremendous. Great work, audience.
This one was shot on a budget of $15 million and made $70 million in the box office.
Wow.
This one stars Michael Bailey Smith as Pluto, Tom Bauer as the gas station attendant, Ted Levine as Big Bob, Kathleen Quinlan as Ethel. This will be our second Kathleen Quinlan movie. She was also in Event Horizon. Dan Bird as Bobby, Emile DeRaven as Brenda. I recognize her from Lost.
Oh, is that where she was from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aaron Stanford as Doug, Vanessa Shaw as Lynn, Maisie Camarella Priozzi as Baby Catherine, Robert Joy as Lizard, Laura Ortiz as Ruby, Ezra Buzzington as Goggle, Billy Drago as Papa Jupiter, Greg Nicotero as Cyst. That was kind of neat seeing him have an actual acting role. He's the guy that does all the effects.
Okay.
He's the guy behind The Walking Dead and all that stuff.
Yeah, he did a bunch of movies.
Ivana Chucharetto as Big Mama and Desmond Askew as Big Brain.
He did have a big brain. Mm-hmm. Check out the big brain on Desmond.
Here's what the back of the DVD has to say about The Hills Have Eyes. The most shocking horror film in a long time, says the WCBS TV/people. A cross-country road trip takes a deadly twist in this chilling remake of Wes Craven's classic horror masterpiece from the 70s. Driving through New Mexico en route to California, the Carter family becomes stranded in a desolate government atomic zone. But as day turns into nightmare, the travelers soon realize that they've got more than car trouble. They've got company. A freakish clan of bloodthirsty mutants inhabit the desert landscape, and they've just found their next meal. Packed with gut-wrenching gore, shocking makeup effects, and heart-stopping terror, The Hills Have Eyes will keep you on the edge of your seat and your sanity.
Ooh.
Didn't mention this
Has
one.
anyone ever gone insane watching a movie?
The dude from Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, that's true.
That's probably the only proof I've seen of that. So this one was directed by Alexandre Aja. We've done him before on this podcast. He did High Tension that we did, the French film. The home invasion movie. Mm-hmm. Okay. He also did Crawl, that alligator movie we saw in the theater.
That one was good. I like that one.
I never saw that one.
Oh, I haven't
That's
seen
the
it.
one that floods, right?
Yeah, since it was in the theater, but I remember liking it, so.
The surrounding story was kind of dumb, like the family members.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
But the gator stuff was cool.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Hills Have Eyes. I was like...
No, Crawl. Like, the plot to get them all trapped in, like, the hurricane flood zone was dumb, but...
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, so fellas, on this one, what do we think of The Hills Have Eyes 2006?
Go first. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for your permission,
No,
John.
that's what I do here.
Honestly,
Traffic cop.
It means a lot. It means a lot. Okay, man, I got to be honest. Not my favorite. It was enjoyable. I liked parts of it. I think there is a backstory premise here that could become incredibly creepy and really fun. I thought this movie was mostly surface level, which is okay, but I just didn't give a shit about I'll be honest, I didn't give a shit about anybody. All this stuff, bad stuff kept happening to characters, and I'm just like, well, that's a real fucking bummer for you. You know, like, I was so disconnected from the plot, and I just didn't care. I thought it was a really competently made movie, except for the opening credits sequence, which I hate more than anything.
That CG fish was really CG.
I loved the visuals. I loved the slow country song, kind of playing over the bomb footage and even the flashes of the mutations and stuff like that. Thought that was super creepy. But they had that ear piercing every time they'd show a picture of a mutant, and then they started doubling down, and it was like, you have got to stop this. This movie is rotten with overbearing, loud, obnoxious noises for no reasons other than just to make you uncomfortable. I really disliked that.
That's very 2006, though. That's like a product of its time.
It was such a product of its time. But I enjoyed this movie. I mean, again, it was pretty decent. I just had some issues with it.
I would say that I agree with you on that, Garrett. This is Alexandre Aja's first foray into American filmmaking. So I think, unfortunately, with that, him and his partner,
Doug
Gregory Lavassieur,
okay,
I could be butchering that because it's a French name.
Close enough, though.
They might have picked up a lot of those tropes of the era. And my biggest complaint about this movie now is that it feels so dated and squarely in the mid-2000s type of horror movie.
The plot and stuff, I don't feel that way about. Some of the tropes of the filmmaking, yes.
Yeah.
But I wonder how much of that was studio notes. I wonder how much of that was like, hey, we're going to give you a thing, but you got to listen to some of our studio execs.
Totally unrelated. It was only $5 on Vudu.
Yeah, fuck you guys. I paid $14 for this on iTunes.
Yo, Garrett.
Because I was like, I bought the unrated cut.
Yeah, me too.
Which was also the same exact price as the regular cut. And there was only one more minute of extra footage. I was like, what the fuck am I buying? Yeah, it was $14 on iTunes. It was evidently $5 on Vudu. It was less than that on Movies Anywhere. Mark, what, $3 or something like that?
Well, no, if you bought it for $5 on Vudu, it would automatically go into your iTunes library.
I know, and sometimes I'll do that, but I hate the fact that I have to do like hours of research to find out if I'm going to overpay for a crappy movie. I don't say crappy. If I'm going to overpay for a movie just because I didn't check the 5 other services that might possibly stream it.
Garrett, what if I told you there was one place, a one-stop shop, justwatch.com? You just go there, you put in your movie, it will tell you where it's streaming, and if not, where you could buy it.
Justwatch.com?
And the price on every place.
Well, I'll tell you what I wish I had done. I wish I had gone to doesthedogdie.com for this movie because, my God, you guys, so much animal death.
This is a Fox Searchlight Pictures.
Okay, then that definitely was, this was post 28 Days Later.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay, there was definitely some studio involvement, I'm sure. Anyway, I thought this movie was actually pretty decent. I enjoyed what I saw, but there were some filmmaking choices that I really disliked, and I think you're right. I think it was a product of the time, not of the artist involved.
The shaky zoom-in camera effects were really noticeable and kind of took me out of it. Just a lot of that kind of stylistic choices.
Oh, you mean when we go into Cannibal Cam?
Yeah.
Which I'm already not a big Monster Cam fan, but then it like triples the speed and you run into a hole that's unnaturally sped up, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, and then it would just cut to another part of the movie.
Because I couldn't tell if I was a cannibal or if I was something else at that point.
Like
I was
a
like,
scorpion? What am I? Yeah. I feel like we haven't had this complaint, or I haven't had this complaint in a while. This movie was too fucking long. They could have cut like 20 minutes and been just as good. Probably better.
This movie was an hour and 47 minutes or something like that.
Which really isn't that long.
But it just drags for places.
The problem is that there is what? John, I think we timed it like 40 minutes before anything really happens.
It's so slow. And
not counting the opening kill.
Right. And to Garrett's point, since the characters really aren't all that interesting to hang out with, like I wasn't like... It's like, oh, Jesus, we got to watch them eat dinner. Like, can we fast forward past this? I don't care about any of this.
I thought there was going to be some dark secret to the family. I thought there was going to be some, like, weird, like, kind of like Doug banging out the younger sister.
I thought that, too. They set that up.
Okay, there was that one moment in the movie where he stared a little too long at the younger sister sunbathing, and you're like, But then it had nothing to do with anything.
Nobody mentions it. Like,
they create all this family tension of, like, the dad really hates Doug, and his wife is like, no, he actually really likes you. He just never admit it. And then later on, he's like, I fucking hate you. And it's just like, cool, why are you here, bro? Like, I mean, I get it's a family thing, but there was a lot of threads that just led to nowhere with this family, which really made me not engage with them beyond these are my antagonists.
Well,
protagonists.
Pro. Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think a lot of that structure is not that different from the 1977 film. It's the exact same family dynamic. 3 kids, mom and dad, and a stepson.
But so they all kind of like just like blah with each other?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to be honest with you. I think I might prefer this over the original. because the original is just a little too slow for me.
Well, here at the GraveTalk podcast, we will not shame anybody for liking the remake more than the original, since I will live or die on the hill that says the remake of Chainsaw Massacre was better than the original.
Amen. Preach it.
Wholly disagree with you both, but that's okay.
A lot of horror fans will, and that's okay.
Some of the changes that were made, however, is that Wes Craven's original movie did not have the atomic element or the mutations at all. They were they were just a bunch of cannibals in the desert. And he based his movie off of some 16th, 17th century family in Scotland, the Bean clan. I'm sure Sean Bean happens to be a relative. They ate thousands of people.
Holy shit.
Until they were captured and brutally tortured and killed themselves.
I think they big time fucked up moving this into the desert. I would have loved to see some Scottish cannibals out there.
It would be a prequel, right?
Yes.
We'd do that number. How would you say The Hills Have Eyes in Scottish?
Out of Scottish folks, get at us.
The Moors have something.
The Moors have molars.
Yeah.
There you go. I like the atomic element of it.
I do too.
Yeah, me too.
I think it makes them a little bit more like kind of scary in the fact that it's way more unknown. You know what's weird? I felt more for the family, the mutated family, than I did the actual like regular people.
Wow, really?
Yes, because as you start to see that they were trying to be pushed out of their land, they did testing anyway. They were mutated. They all had to deal with like horrific side effects from this. I was kind of like, well, goddamn, that really sucks. That really it's shitty for these people, and they're still just trying to make it. And there was a few that basically you could tell were just killing for fun, but for the most part, they were kind of doing whatever they thought they needed to do, with the exception of a few things.
Hey, I'm going to say big old, just because you've been mutated by radioactive blast doesn't mean you have to be a cannibal. That's a choice. They decided. I
agree. I'm not saying that like they were right in any of their decision making, but I'm just saying like I had more of a connection to their backstory than I did the humans. But I don't know what to call them. The family.
They're also rapists.
Yeah, that's too.
Again, I'm not excusing any behavior, but why do we need to see that scene so blatantly graphic?
Well, does it really surprise you, this coming from the high tension guy?
No.
I mean, this seems right up his alley, right?
Again, I know that they use this thing in films and stuff. And to be fair, they did a little more tastefully than some other films do. But tastefully, that's such a weird word to describe it. But they do it a lot less offensively than some other movies do. But I don't know. It lingered for so long. I was like, good God, people.
I didn't have a lot of issues with the family setup because the dynamic of, hey, look at this quote unquote liberal Democrat trying to be part of this Republican family.
Oh, that shoehorn thing. Into
that whole thing.
Was that part of the original too?
They were at odds. I don't know if it was a clear like right or left kind of dichotomy that's in this movie. But I know the dad didn't approve of the
almost certainly.
Supertramp is the greatest band ever. You shut your mouth. You're not part of this family.
76, you could probably just guess it was like an Archie Bunker versus like a semi hippie type thing.
Him being like,
that would have been a good, actually put the nuclear aspect in. It was like, I'm glad we went to war, blah blah blah. The dad's like all pro war about shit, and then the son's all like, we shouldn't have done that. That was horrific.
Yeah.
So anyway, missed opportunity there, Wes Craven.
You blew
to call you back, what, 20 years?
Yeah.
How many years has it been?
77, dude. 44.
All right, I'm going to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I feel really old.
So, yeah, it does kind of start off slow, but I think there's enough going on in the first half of the film. Like, we go to the gas station, right? It's one of those movies. We see that there's something going on with this gas station attendant. He's got trees full of alcohol bottles, so we know that he's a drinker. I think the way that slowly plays out, it was enough of a thread to get me going through the movie, at least so we get to the meat of it.
I was really hoping for more with that guy, especially when they reveal his whole motive for doing what he did. The gas station attendant. I mean, other than like his kill, like it didn't really pay off for anything. A lot of loose threads just go nowhere. I wanted more from this movie, and it wouldn't have been hard to put that in there. Edit out some less of the more boring stuff, and then put some more backstory.
I don't know what else we'd need from that character, though. I mean, he's clearly guilty in trying to get out of this deal that he's made with the mutants, sending them prey, and then he ends his life.
Well, that's the thing, though, is he spills his guts, and then bam. And we'll get more into that in a minute. But I would have liked to have seen him struggle a little bit more with. I mean, he has that part where he pulls in the duffel bag and opens it up, and it's like the other family's belongings and stuff, and he's just like, damn it, But again, we have no context for that. We have no idea he's made a deal at this point. I'm not saying they had to lay it all out at that time, but it would have been nice too, just seeing him kind of struggle with the like maybe yell at the hills, like like I don't want to do this anymore. Like why can't you just leave me alone? Like
He did that.
Yeah,
he literally
he screamed
did that.
all of that.
He's like, I don't want to do this no more.
I'm out. You understand me?
But that was at the time like
That was the beginning of the
It was
movie.
like 10 minutes in.
oh
That's before the family shows up to the
Like,
gas station.
That boy ain't right.
And then when we get the reveal of the ravine full of cars, like I love that stuff.
yeah.
For a second, I did, but then I had so many questions.
Did
I was
you?
like, because one of the things there was a fucking school bus. So I'm supposed to be led. This family killed and murdered a school bus
Yes.
worth of kids, and nobody's come to check this out in 2006
The
because this
desert,
movie
man.
takes place in modern times. So
Desert, no one knows.
Everything was chopped up to MapQuest failure. Okay, back then, if you got lost in the fucking desert, like MapQuest claimed another. We didn't have smartphones yet. You know what I mean?
MapQuest, death toll 10,000.
Right.
I like the fact that Doug was a cell phone salesman.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, that's a throwback.
It's like, man, I don't think you could make it on cell phones selling money these days.
I feel like even in 2006, cell phone salesman was like,
No.
did you work in the mall?
We still
Like,
had the
we're-
flip phones. Dude, there were cell phone stores everywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. So
Tail end of it.
was he just a mall attendant? Is that? But he's like talking it up. I'm a cell phone salesman.
Maybe he was the guy that went from mall to mall being like, let me introduce you to the new X296. This phone can
Wholesale?
get 7 calls. It's
Yeah.
got call waiting.
They didn't go deep enough into it. I assumed like he had his own small cell phone service company or
Okay.
something
Got
like
2
that.
megapixel camera.
He goes
Whoa.
door to door with a briefcase of cell phones. What's it going to take to get you on a cell phone today?
Ma'am, is the man of the house home? You wouldn't understand this technology in my box. Yes, like you said, Garrett, I do really appreciate the atomic mutant side of things. This was actually before Fallout came out, or Fallout 3 came out, and kind of brought a lot of that back. Way past the Mad Max era of shit, right? And all those knockoffs of the 80s. So this kind of fell into a time where I was like, oh yeah, we haven't seen a lot of this style in a while in 2006. So when I saw this movie in the theaters, I walked away like stoked. I was like,
you saw
it was
this in the
great.
theaters?
Yeah. I went because I was really intrigued by it. Again, with that mutant atomic aspect, it's enough to get me in the chair.
Shout outs to the effects artists who did the mutants. Really,
Yeah.
really well done. I think they all had personality. I think they all had a unique look to each one. Gross, disturbing, also kind of very humanistic in their own right. A lot of expression in how they were. I don't appreciate them going super light on the little girl, Ruby. I think they're definitely trying to like she's a good one. She doesn't look all messed
All
up.
our makeup was CG.
Was it really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You
guess
serious?
I watched
guess
the
that's
50-minute making of, which was really, here's how we crashed a car. But one of the things was they talked about Ruby's makeup, and yeah, it was all.
Because you don't want to put a kid in the makeup chair for like
She was 18.
hours.
No.
Still.
Yeah.
Was she really?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That looked really good.
Yeah, I was
for
impressed.
2006 CG.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hats off to that.
Yeah, again, it was really well done. I really like the mutant aspect of it. The dad in the chair, Papa Jupiter or whatever.
No, that was Big Brain.
Yeah,
Was
that's
that
Big
Big
Brain.
Brain? Oh.
The one that had breathing problems and tells
Yes.
us the whole backstory.
AKA Rubber Johnny.
Yes.
I don't know if any of you guys remember the
Apex
Chris
Twins.
Cunningham Apex Twin Rubber Johnny project. And that actually came out before this movie. So
you think
I
they
feel like
stole that?
Alexandre Aja is a French person, and I think Chris Cunningham is French as well. I'm not positive, but yeah, he did a lot of stuff over in Europe. So I feel like there was maybe some overlap there, maybe some inspiration. But yeah, I saw that and I was like, Apex Twins coming in any second now. Did I break you guys?
Yeah, I'm remembering the video of the chair spinning around and all
I
the
have no
flashing
idea.
lights.
Yeah.
You should check out Rubber Johnny. It's fucking weird.
It's a 6-minute little like experimental short film with this dude. It's fucked up. I'll let you borrow it.
Well, after the success of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake and the Amityville Horror remake, Wes Craven was thrilled to have someone take the reins of his The Hills Have Eyes movie, and he saw High Tension, was like, yeah, let's get this guy in.
That's a match made in heaven. I can't I mean, the tension of like that movie
Yeah.
plus like this storyline. I mean, it's ripe for like just like again. Maybe I'm gonna have to take it back. This was not a bad movie.
The tension was high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See what you did there.
I'm kind of surprised that Wes Craven saw the Amityville Horror remake and was like, please take my property.
I don't know if he saw that one. Okay, I'm talking about he saw the dollar signs that
okay.
it made. That Forgotten remake with Ryan Reynolds.
Dude, it was so
Wait,
bad.
Ryan Reynolds
Yeah.
was in
The Amityville Horror.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not good though.
No, not really. Funny enough, Wes Craven would team up with his son to do The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, a sequel to this, and it bombed.
I
from what I
saw
understand.
that when I was looking this one up, and I was like, oh shit, it was also $5. I was like, should I buy this one as
Not
well?
on iTunes, it wasn't.
And I was like, you know what? No. And I'm glad that I didn't. But now I feel like, oh, Wes Craven was directly involved, so maybe I should watch it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me stop you right there.
Oh.
This is something that's been going on in horror for a little bit too long now. Just because we see classic people's names does not mean it's going to be good.
Fair point.
All right? I just want to remind everybody, just because, oh, so-and-so that worked on the original is back, understand that that's an old man. All right? Maybe an old woman. They may not be hip to what's actually cool, what's popping on the streets. So, as I say, popping on the streets to date myself and make myself seem like a dorky old man. Anyway, just... It really bothers me. It's like from the mind of such and such. Like Kill Her Goats was a great example. It's like Kane Hodder, and I was like, oh yeah, we got to remind ourselves. Just because people are involved doesn't mean it's going to instantly be good.
The Crimes of the Future.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Cronenberg. Great ideas, but man. Anyway,
if you guys haven't seen, I know we're totally tangenting. Fuck it, it's GraveTalk podcast. Infinity Pool. I know I talked about it briefly. If you guys have not seen Infinity Pool,
that was his kid though.
That was
right?
his kid. That movie is fucking rad. Anyway, back to The Hills Have Eyes. Back to your regularly scheduled program.
Well, Garrett, it kicks off, like you said, with a bunch of black and white footage of nuclear tests and our mutant family spliced in between with screaming.
Like a Slim Whitman song or something like that playing in the background.
Yeah, I think it's actually...
It's not Slim Whitman, but I'm just saying it's that kind of style, if you know who Slim Whitman is. I got to stop saying things that make me sound like an old dude.
I'm familiar with Slim Shady. Any crossover there?
I would love for that crossover to happen.
The song is More and More by Webb Pierce.
Webb Pierce, there we go.
I enjoy this tune quite a bit. I don't do a lot of country, but that older style country, I can get down with that.
And you're going to love Asteroid City soundtrack.
Great.
It is all that shit.
At first I was like, this can't be Willie Nelson. But
No, it's not Willie Nelson. Think older.
Yeah. This sequence goes on a little long. I think they could have cut this part down of all the black and white stuff by a minute.
Yeah, I was like, this is still happening, but I was like, oh, okay, they really want to make sure I get the story, the background, because maybe they won't reference it again in the future. But no.
They didn't need to have heavy machinery screeching every time they changed the edit, though. Like every time they cut to a different scene, they did or a picture, they didn't have to give that. It was like, why?
How would you know when to be scared?
I'm seeing atomic bombs and mutated people. I'm scared already.
Show me how to feel, movie.
Yeah.
Make the sounds happen. We go to a river. We see a bunch of scientists in white suits with Geiger counters checking out the area.
Yeah, like, this is irradiated. I'm sensing radiation.
Oh, it's beeping off the charts.
So one of the things that was very strange to me about this was like, if the tests had just happened in the last, I'll be fair, 10 years, then maybe that would make sense to have scientists out there going, well, what is all this radiation? This takes place in the era of cell phones. The atomic test would have been in the 40s. Like, you know what I mean? It just
Chernobyl
seems,
is still irradiated, bro.
but are they sending out teams of scientists with Geiger counters on the ground?
Maybe Thomas lost his keys and they had to go find them.
Oh.
Maybe that's a metal detector.
I thought this took place in the past, and that's why it was all dream focused.
I thought this took place.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I thought this was like their first kill.
Oh no! The kill at the beginning
Yeah.
takes place in like right before they show up in the desert.
That was my assumption.
Why are those people there?
That's what my point is. Why are they showing this?
Look, they're radiologists. They have to do something with their spare time.
They really need to nail home that this was an atomic test site. Okay,
Yeah.
so men in suits, scientists in suits is really going to
Hazmat
drive that home.
suits, yeah.
But they get a pickaxe to the head.
We also get killer cam right out the gate. We get cannibal. No, we actually get radiologist. What are these people called? I don't know. I
don't
call them
know.
radiologists.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're doing there. They're just there to check for radiation.
We get their goggle cam first because it's like green goggle vision, and then we get cannibal cam, and then pickaxe to the back of the head.
There should have been a three-eyed fish in the river.
Yes, that would have been awesome.
Little nod to The Simpsons.
Oh, but you know what? Do they know about The Simpsons in France?
Yes,
Yes,
The
dude,
Simpsons
sure.
is global, bro.
Les Bart,
And then we cut immediately to the gas station where we meet. I thought it was Dick Miller at first, but it was not Dick Miller.
Ooh, this movie would have been elevated with some dick.
Always.
So we get his gas station scene, which you guys kind of touched on, so I'm not going to go through it too much. But he's just kind of surviving. He's kind of doing his own thing. He hears a noise outside. He evidently screams at them, "I'm done with this shit." I missed that.
Yeah, it was very dramatic. It was his best acting. He
finds a bag on the front of his porch, and it's filled with like all the personal belongings, I guess, of the people that the cannibals have killed, and body parts and shit.
So it's kind of like his payment, right? He tricks these people to going down this dirt road, and once they're done with them, then he gets all the leftover bracelets and cell phones and wallets and all that stuff.
Give me the loot. Give me the loot.
I gotta tell you, I'm gonna tell you, pro tip. Here's just a pro tip, a life pro tip.
Don't make deals with cannibals.
Well, that. But also, if you're maybe in the middle of fucking nowhere, don't go down a road that's not on a map that you don't know where it goes because some creepy guy at a gas station was like, let me tell you what you're going to want to do. Make a left at the barn. Going to cut 4 hours off your journey. Bullshit. If that was a true story, people would use that road.
Do you remember when I told you that MapQuest was the #1 cause of death in America in 2006? We were taking everybody's directions at the gas stations from any, hodunk podunk motherfucker.
Y'all need to live a little. Look, I ended up lost on an Amish farm in Pennsylvania one time because I took a wrong turn because I wanted to go get...
I'll take back
I wanted
roads.
to go get steak at a Texas Roadhouse in Pennsylvania, and I took a wrong turn and ended up driving into like a farm area and been like, "Where am I?" And they're like, "This is an Amish community," and I was like, "Okay, I got to get out of here. How do I leave?"
Yeah, did you
I could
see
have gotten murked by the Amish.
Yeah.
that paranormal activity next to kin?
That's right.
I didn't see that, but we did do a short on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A quickie, if you will.
If you will. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't go off on a road that's not on a map. I've done back roads, but they've always been on a map. Even in 2006, I had an atlas. In fact, in 2009, I had an atlas. I bought one when I first moved to Austin. I was like, I better get a Texas atlas. That's the kind of thing you'll need. Put it right near my phone book.
And you were one of 10 people to have one.
Yeah, I think I still do. It's in my trunk. 2009 Texas atlas. I'm sure it's up to date.
So as fake Dick Miller is looking to the bag and being like, "Damn it, body parts, not this again," you hear a car pull up. Or a truck /
pulling a
camper
trailer.
van. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you hear because the fucking dick just starts blowing on the horn. Beep. Like, where is this guy? Beep. I need gas.
I don't know.
It's like,
Did it say full service? I didn't see a sign that said that. It's
yeah,
really
I don't know.
presumptive.
Why? He's in New Mexico. There's no full service gas stations in New Mexico.
I think it would have been cool if this dad was played by Michael Gross.
Yeah, I could see
I'm
that.
going to recast this whole movie.
I thought Tom Levine did good as the dad, though.
He did fantastic. And every time I see him, I'm like, oh, I know him from something. He's just one of those like character actors that shows up and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that guy. He's always really good.
He always
like,
plays a cop, I feel. I could see that. I was like, oh, yeah, you're a cop actor. Detective. Sorry.
that or the army general who's all like, damn it, we're not going to let this go unchecked.
Let's see. He was in Silence of the Lambs, Shutter
That's
Island.
what it is. He was the cop. He was the cop when Hannibal Lecter escapes.
Oh, Shutter Island. I like that movie.
He's also in Wild Wild West.
Jim West, Desperado?
No, the one with Will Smith.
That's
Jim West.
It's the rap.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know the Wild Wild West rap off the top of your head?
No.
Mark?
Anyway, he's been in a lot of stuff. Memoirs of a Geisha.
Wow. Classy films. And then this one.
So the dude's blaring on his horn. He wants full service gas, which again, very presumptive. Just
Yeah.
assume that someone's going to come pump your gas, you lazy ass. I guess maybe you don't want to start fucking with their pumps without their permission too. That's fair.
That's just a gas pump. I've never been like...
But it's a desert gas pump.
Let's also consider that one probably is not run on some sort of computer system where you can prepay
that's
at
true.
the pump. You know what I mean? So he's probably got to manually turn it on.
Gonna get
Okay,
an old
that's
Cougar
fair.
Ran.
He's got to turn a handle, like a winch, to get the gas going.
Anyway, so he's like, fill her up and check the fluids. And he's like, all right, I'll do it. So this is where we start to see the interaction between the family. And we get every family member. The mom is not pregnant, right? No. The oldest daughter is pregnant.
She just had a baby.
She just had a baby.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
pregnant, is not pregnant now.
Okay,
Currently,
I thought
nobody's
I thought
pregnant.
she had a baby and had another one on the way. And I was like, duh, my dude, slow down.
I didn't pick
don't
that
think
up. Yeah.
so.
Okay. Well, she looked like she was pregnant, so I thought maybe she had another baby. Anyway, so
That poor
You
actress.
guys are focused on the wrong part of this.
We are.
Focus.
You're the one talking about it.
I just said she was pregnant. You guys like, no, she's not pregnant. She just had a baby 3 weeks ago. You should know this. Didn't you get the updates?
Well, I
Didn't you
think-
get the text message blast. He sells cell phones.
It would dramatically change her story arc
Yeah.
and what happened to her if she was pregnant.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh my God, you just killed a pregnant lady. Also, this movie holds a gun to a baby's head. I know the angle is to where it's far enough away, but it looks like he holds a gun, like the barrel to a baby's head. And I was like, what the fuck movie?
Yeah, this movie gives no fucks. It does whatever.
Exactly. But so the dad's a real like Republican asshole. He doesn't like his stepson or step husband.
That'd be son-in-law.
Son-in-law. There we go. That's the thing. Like, I only recognize one son-in-law, and that is the Pauly Shore son-in-law.
The best son-in-law.
The mom is like...
It'd be quite a different film if he was in this role.
Could you imagine?
This whole movie.
Lost in the desert. I don't have a good Pauly Shore, but
Desert.
yeah.
I like it. Doug doesn't want to be there because he's like, this vacation sucks. There's a daughter named Brenda, and there's Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the son is named Bobby, and the dad is Big Bob.
Oh, boy.
Wait, the son is named Bobby?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So little Bob
I
and
have
Big Bob.
because Bobby
Okay.
and Brenda.
Okay, like B names.
Yeah.
And the eldest daughter who's married to Doug is Lynn.
Lynn. Oh, off left field on that one.
Yeah, let's just burn through this family shit. So basically, they're driving after fake Dick Miller gives them directions like, oh, go this way. It'll cut some time off your trip.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Some more of that backstory you wanted for our gas attendant happens.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
So he's screaming at the top of his lungs, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. Well, our family has 2 dogs with them, Beauty and Beast. They get out of one of them gets out of the camper and runs inside of the gas station into the back room.
Really poorly trained dogs.
Yeah.
And bad
Keep
owners.
these fuckers on a leash. They're
Yeah.
big dogs.
Right. They let them dogs run off way too much in this movie. Lynn wanders into the place to try to find the dog, goes in the back room. Well, what's on the table is the bag of possessions from the previous victims that the gas station attendant just got. He wanders in and goes, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't know." And like she glances down at the bag, but it doesn't really click.
No, she
you know
didn't-
what I mean?
Yeah, she did not know what she saw.
But what has now happened is that's set them on the path to be the next victims. The gas station attendant was gonna let them go, and it would have been over.
Now they know too much.
Right,
But
he
now
thinks
they know
they
too
know
much.
but she really doesn't know. But I guess he's being cautious, and that's why he changed his mind. Right, at first he's like, "Yeah, just stay on this road," but then he's like, "You know what? Actually, if you make a left at the barn, you can cut hours off of your journey." And they're like, "Yeah, man, love to cut hours off my journey."
Big Bob's like, "Thanks a lot, buddy," and they peel off to their
Yes.
doom.
Oh, my favorite scene in the whole movie happens here too, when the gas station attendant's filling him up and he's smoking.
He's
and
smoking a cigar, yeah.
And Big Bob's like, "Don't you know it's illegal to smoke around a gas container?" It just laughs for like 30 seconds and go, "Yeah."
Well, some of the backstory is that Big Bob is a retired detective starting his own security firm.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
When was that laid out?
Here, during this scene.
Again, I just tuned these people out. They were so boring to me.
I get what you're saying where you didn't like any of the family members, but it did remind me of a period of time before we didn't feel so divided. Like I could look at Big Bob and his family and still kind of see like my fellow Americans, you know, we're just kind of at opposite
Like
ends
the
of things.
left-right discourse wasn't quite as divided
Yeah.
and hard line.
It just made me wistful for a simpler time.
I hear what you're saying without going too much into it because who wants to talk politics on a horror podcast other than us? Like, no, I mean, back then it was just like, oh, they believe something different, you know, like, okay, well, whatever, you know, we got different opinions on things. But now it's just so like hardline, like if you do this, you're fucking stupid, or if you do this, you're grooming children. It's like, dude, the extremes are just so.
Right.
You're right. It did seem very like kind of like, well, at least they're getting along.
Yeah, but the thing that this movie does is we've got Doug, who is our kind of left wing. He's not even left wing. He's just more of like a.
He's just a
He's
Democrat.
just a Democrat,
He
more
just
or
doesn't
less.
like guns as much as Big Bob likes
So
guns.
they really lay into Doug like the first half of this movie. They're just like, what a dummy. I don't want to hang out with Doug. And I think little Bobby calls him a pussy at some
We
point.
get to it in a bit, but Doug also asked the stupidest question in the whole movie.
Right.
So some of it is his own
love?
fault.
No.
No. Can we fix it? Like, are you fucking kidding me, Doug?
So when I was watching this movie, I forgot it was done by a French man. I was like, is this some sort of agenda movie trying to like make fun of the liberals or something? But no, it actually changes. And Doug has a whole transformation at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Well,
He transforms
sort of.
into a Republican. So-
I really dislike Doug as our main character. I did not think. I mean, I know what they're trying to go for, like the everyman becomes, you know, what he needs to become, but I did not feel like that transformation was warranted.
I did. I mean, they
Yeah.
stole his baby and it killed his wife and mother-in-law right in, basically right in front of him. So he's like, I have to get my baby back. But yeah, he starts out of this like
He's gotta get his baby back, baby back, baby back. He's got to get his baby back, baby back.
Doug Chili's. That's his name. But he goes from not wanting to be around guns to now all of a sudden he's got to.
He just kind of falls into like, I got to do what I got to do, which works. But again, he just was so unbelievable. Like when he doesn't seem to be angry at any point, even when he's fighting that dude at the end, he's just kind of like, what do I do here? And then lucks into whatever. That's the way I read it.
There could have been a little more from the acting side of it, but man, when
someone steals my baby and I'm going to go get revenge, you better believe I'm going into like Predator, like Billy cut my chest Rambo mode. If I'm going to go crazy, I'm going Green Room crazy.
I think he did an okay job. Not a great job, but an okay job.
2006 also.
Yeah, that scene where he's stuck in the meat locker.
Yes, that was pretty.
That was some good acting there. So they're out on the road. They're driving down the shortcut that they got, and all of a sudden we get road spikes. Road spikes that just eviscerate a lizard. And I'm like, was that necessary? Like you said, this movie loves killing animals.
Loves it.
This might be the most animal death we've done in a movie on the podcast so far.
I think it might be.
Lizard, 2 birds, and a dog.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Lot.
Unnecessary.
So the tires get blown out from the road spikes. Big Bob tries to regain control of the truck that's pulling a big camper, crashes straight into like a stump or a rock.
Or a huge rock, boulder.
That car is Dunsville.
You almost said Dunsky.
I almost did. Dunsky.
It's real good testament to Big Bob's driving. Miles of empty desert, and he manages to crash into the one rock.
Yeah.
I liked this crash. It was really well done. I thought the actor who played Bob, Big Bob, did a really good job of like really showing that he was struggling controlling that vehicle. I liked this scene. And then when everybody gets out, like the tensions are high. You know, people are trying to find out what's going on.
Yeah, like, why did we go down a road? It's not even on the map. You know, yelling at Bob and stuff.
A lot of discourse and a lot of kind of like questioning and like this is not the time. I thought this is one of the few points where I was like, oh, this is going to actually pull this family a little bit tighter together. I was wrong, but
they probably didn't have enough time to get there.
That's true.
To that more cohesive family unit.
So the car's totaled. They can't drive it anywhere. And so they come up with the plan of they're going to send Big Bob back to the gas station. Doug's going to walk the other way, and they're going to hopefully find help. And within 5 or 10 miles, they'll turn around, come back, and get a rescue situation going. And then for some reason, they all want their jackets. That was weird.
So you don't get sunburn.
I would rather risk getting sunburn than wearing
Sweating?
Yeah, you're going to get so dehydrated. They didn't even bring any water with them.
Someone who wears a sleeveless hoodie in Texas because I can flip that hood up over my head and not get burned. Trust me.
Well, no, a hat. You want to bring a hat, but a whole jacket?
Yeah, it's cold in the desert at night.
Yeah, I suppose. Seems like a poor decision on my part, or on their part. Maybe my part too. What do I know?
Big Bob was a Boy Scout. He always goes prepared.
So Doug eventually hits his end of the road into a crater situation where there's just all the cars of the people that these cannibals have killed before. And he's like, sweet, free shit. So he goes down there and like explores in the car and comes back with a baseball bat and a fishing.
Brand new fishing pole, a bat, some other things. And I'm like, well, how come the clerk didn't get these items?
Well, because they didn't. The cannibals didn't deem them worthy to bring back.
Can't
they
fit in a
only
duffel
bring back
bag.
the finest of tributes,
The jewelry, the coins,
the cash money.
the commemorative plates.
So, but and then Big Bob is working his way back to the gas station. As those two are walking, the rest of the family is just setting up base camp. They're like, we'll relax and kick it, And as they're leaving, we see Doug take a little bit long gander at the younger daughter. We're like, bro.
It's such a pointless scene. This is something that could have been cut.
His wife sees it.
Yeah, but nothing comes of the scene. So like they could have cut that and saved the minute of screen time.
Yeah, and then on top of that, as this is happening, as Bob and Doug go their own ways, one of the dogs runs out into the desert.
I think Brenda is being a little too careless here.
Yes.
We see that these dogs are runners. It happened already at the gas station, and she's like, I'm going to go into the camper and get something. She just opens the door and boom, Beauty bolts.
Yeah.
Name of the dogs are Beauty and Beast.
They should have leashed those dogs up as soon as they stopped. Anyway, why are they leaving them in the camper? So bad dog owners all around.
Rattlesnakes, man. Like if what didn't happen to the dog, probably a snake bite or something crazier would have happened.
Definitely.
Not crazier, but more realistic.
Yeah, less crazier.
Right.
Bobby's looking for Beast. He finds Beast
Beauty.
gutted. Beauty, I'm sorry. He finds Beauty gutted. And he's like, my dog, my precious dog. And then he gets scared by some cannibals and he falls off a little like ledge and knocks himself out.
And he's out for the day.
Yes. And then we see Ruby, the young little girl cannibal, goes and sits next to Bobby and kind of just watches over him. And then we see another cannibal up laughing, eating like a dog leg or something like that. At this point, you're like, okay, there's an ecosystem of these people out here.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to nighttime, and Big Bob is now at the gas station.
I don't understand why Bobby would look in his gutted dog's like carcass. What was he hoping to see in there?
I think he was just looking for what exactly happened, because the dog was just laying on its side with
he
a
wasn't
lot of.
inspecting. He just kind of like lifted the leg and like saw that it was like gutted. And when we say gutted, it's fully empty.
And that means this isn't a natural death by some other animal in the desert.
True. I mean, he reacted in an appropriate way, except he probably should have looked where he was running. But other than that, I get it.
He should have worn his dog like a hood. Become one of the cannibals. Lead them.
Lend me your strength, beauty. So Bob at the gas station now gets a bottle of water, and he's looking for the gas station attendant. Where are you at, buddy? Hey, we broke down.
I have a note here that says, bro, if you say hello one more goddamn time, I'm going to stop this movie. He says it like 40 times.
I mean, he's just wandering inside, helping himself to, items for sale.
I assume he's trying to be loud so that he doesn't get mistaken for a ruffian and blasted.
That's exactly what I thought, too.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you do not want to creep around the desert.
He goes back into the back area behind the beads. And he finds the bag of all the stuff. Oh, we didn't mention inside the bag with all the jewels was an ear.
And some teeth.
Bob finds this and immediately draws his gun.
I like the fact that the ear's in a to-go container.
I think it was because of all the earrings, right?
Probably.
Is that why they tore it off and gave it to him?
Probably gold fillings and
yeah. So he goes outside and he finds a car that he's trying to start, and he starts to hear some muttering and mumbling coming from the outhouse. Well, the gas station attendant's in there getting drunk on a bottle with a shotgun. And Bob's like, hey, buddy, just put that down, and then he just blows his brains out.
Well, he expresses his regret in what happens. He was just like, I'm so sorry. I can't do this anymore, blah, 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 blah. And this is where I was like, oh, there's some depth to this dynamic of him not wanting to do this.
Are those his kids? Is that what?
No,
I don't think so.
It's just a family, and he knew that they lived out there, and he knew what happened to him, and he felt bad for them. So this is why he did that for him. He's like, I've done everything I can to care for them, but this is out of hand. I can't do it anymore. They've gone too far.
Because I remember him saying something like, "Oh, what kind of place is this to raise kids?"
Because he's talking about the young kids, Ruby and some of the other ones that grew up, and he was just like, "That's just not a way to life." Like they should all be destroyed, type thing.
He knows Ruby by name because whenever at the beginning of the film where he's like, "I don't want to do this anymore," he's like, "Is that Ruby?"
Yeah.
So there has been some sort of communication.
He knows Jupiter too, because he's like, "I got buckshot for you, Jupiter."
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
But it's a whole House of 1,000 Corpses thing. They're all crazy people just doing their own shit.
Yeah. So one of the things that I couldn't quite get on board with
was the gunshot wound to the head.
Dude, yeah, it was a
Holy
super
shit.
shotgun.
Yeah, it was like a sawed off.
It caves out that dude's head and then it folds in on itself. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah.
The like skin from the side of the head folds in on itself like it really would, and it was just like, bleh. Oh, it was so intense.
It was very bloody.
Yeah, it was a good effect.
Mm-hmm.
Big Bob is like, all right, screw this shit. I just watched a guy blow his head off. I'm out of here. I'm going to go get in the car. He starts hearing someone go, Daddy.
Oh, that's why I thought this was their dad's, because this mutant is just saying, Daddy.
You thought he was saying Daddy to
the guy who just blew the gas station attendant.
Yeah, no, he knew that he was the dad of the family, so they were taunting this guy.
That was what I picked up.
That makes much more sense.
Like, Daddy. And I was like, who's your daddy?
They just start shooting in the dark.
Why waste your bullets? Fire one shot in the air if you're trying to scare someone, but other than that, just wait until you see something.
Yeah. As a cop, you should know better. A detective, sorry.
He gets in the car, starts the engine, or tries to start the engine, and then there's someone in the seat behind him who goes, Daddy, and then like smashes his head against the fucking window, breaks his skull. Yeah. Like he's not dead, but he's
injured.
Up. Yeah.
Check the back seat, bro. What are you doing?
He's panicked. He's trying to get out of there, but yes, check the back seat.
Literally they think they're in the middle of nowhere with nobody else around but this gas station.
But he's hearing this.
You're hearing
person
someone say "Daddy" and taunt you. Check your surroundings. Like, don't take anything for granted. This is crazy time. Mm-hmm. You've officially abandoned reality. You're on crazy time.
That's a good point. It's crazy PM right now.
Switch to crazy protocols. So anyway, Dad gets taken into the mine shaft. There seems to be mine shafts everywhere out here.
Well, the backstory is...
It's a mining community.
Yes, it was a group of miners that did not want to leave the area when they were told to leave by the government for these atomic tests. Mm-hmm. Henceforth, radiated mutants.
Yeah, look, I get it. I get that it would suck to be forced off of your land. But if they're like, look, we're going to nuke whether you are here or not, just leave. Just leave. There's going to be no happy outcomes. Pro tip from the GraveTalk podcast.
This is America.
Don't get nuked. So then it cuts back to the camper, and
it's nighttime.
It's right, and Beast now gets out because these people cannot keep track of their dogs. Were shit, and I was like, oh no, not Beast too. But
Brenda goes after Beast, who then finds passed out Bobby on the ground. And she brings Bobby back to the camper. At the same time, Doug comes back with all of his accoutrement, the fishing pole, and all the other stuff that he scavenged from the bomb site vehicles. That dude's got to be irradiated at this point.
I'm sure they all are at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely to some degree. He comes back in. Doug, being a dick. Did you make dinner? Like, bro, now's not the time. I mean, I'm sure he's been walking all day. He's hungry.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice this entire movie, no one drinks water?
Well, they're wearing jackets in the sun, so.
Bob drinks water at the gas station.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the only time, though. That's the only time. No one in an actual desert drinks water at any point.
And they do complain about how hot they are. Yeah, get it together.
It was interesting.
These people would have died from dehydration if the mutants didn't get them.
It's true. I mean, I was thinking about that. I was like, if there's nobody around to help these people, if the mutants weren't a thing, they're fucked anyway.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, the correct thing to do would have been for all of them to go back to the gas station as a unit and not split up to the four winds. But whatever.
Well, maybe Bob was going to go back and pick them like, hey, there's someone that can help us. We'll go get the rest of the family. But anyway, we're speculating. Let's talk about the actual plot. Bobby has decided not to tell them about their gutted dog because he didn't want to worry the family. Bro, let them know.
Yes.
Instantly.
He's also like 14, so.
Does not matter. If I see a decapitated, mutilated, gutted anything, I'm like, yo, just FYI, our family pet brutally murdered. This sucks. I'm really sorry for your grief at this time, but we should probably be aware of this since we're in the middle of the fucking desert.
Probably the first 14-year-old to ever make a bad decision.
Easily.
Definitely. Bobby made a decision, but it was the wrong one.
So at this point, they hear a noise and they run outside and they see Big Bob tied to a tree that I didn't know it was there until he's tied to it.
So what exactly happens is nobody believes Bobby.
Wait, are you going to correct me on the podcast?
I am, because I actually love this moment.
Son of a bitch.
It goes like this. Bobby's being weird, and he's not telling anybody about why he's being weird. Doug doesn't believe him at all. He's like, I'm going to go sleep in the car. And he's like, no, man, look, I'll sleep on the floor. You can stay here in the camper with us. And well, he's like, Bobby, it's a 3-person camper. I'm not going to sleep in here with you. And he takes
They very easily could have all slept there.
Yeah, it was big enough. So him and Lynn go sleep in the car. He's like, I tell you what, if Big Bob doesn't show up by midnight, you and me will go look for him, okay? Okay. It's 11:50. All of a sudden, Bobby looks outside of the camper and he sees commotion or he hears something. And that triggers him to run outside and go up to the car where Doug is sleeping with Lynn in there. And he's like, hey, look, okay, I didn't want to tell anybody this, but shit is popping off. We are not alone. There's people out here and we need to do something about it. And they're like, Bobby, you're being freaky. But Doug's like, okay, hold on. Let's go check it out. So they start walking off in the direction of the sound that Bobby heard. In the meantime, one of the mutants climb into the camper and he starts accosting the women of the family.
Is this after they set the dad on fire?
No.
It's coming now.
Hasn't happened yet.
Okay. Oh boy.
The funny part is like one of them has...
The funny part.
Yeah, no, I thought it was hilarious because one of the mutants has a walkie-talkie and goes, now! And they fucking ignite Bob off in the corner. It's like, holy shit. I didn't expect that to happen.
No, I agree. I was like, what the fuck?
This also a 2006 filmmaking moment. They start to zoom towards the burning tree, and then they super fast zoom up to the tree, so you get like a close-up
They were
of the dad burning, and it's like... Zzz, and it's like, oh, it took me out of the moment so much when they did that like super fast camera work.
They were so proud of it though. In the making of, they spent like 10 minutes talking about how the Steadicam guy had to walk there and it took 3 minutes.
That kind
and
of effect is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
And so like I can
proud.
understand being like, you know, like, yo, that turned out really well, but this is not that kind of movie.
Yeah, but it wants to be.
This feels like, okay, so I guess to bring it back to Rob Zombie, the camera shot feels like it belongs in House of a Thousand Corpses, but not Devil's Rejects. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I can
Very
see
different
that.
feel of film, you know? So anyway, I had a little bit of a problem with that. But yeah, Bob is burning.
Yeah, before the Bob burning happens, Brenda is the only one in the camper. Everybody else had gone outside to see what Bobby's
That's right.
freaking out about. Lizard and Pluto, 2 of our mutants, make their way into the camper and rape Brenda.
Yes.
In a pretty...
I couldn't remember when that part happened, but...
It's a pretty graphic scene.
Yeah.
So while the family's trying to put out Bob with a fire extinguisher, this is all happening.
Bro, they should have just shot Bob.
There's
At
no
some
saving
point,
Bob.
when you see Bob's skin looking like that.
Yeah.
Also, Doug was like 40 feet away from the fire trying to spray it with a fucking fire extinguisher. Like, bro, get closer.
But mom's crying, going, "Not my Bob." I felt that.
Yeah.
You know,
I can understand that. Yes.
at this point, mom is going to basically be in a fugue state for the rest of the movie.
Which is not that long for her.
Yeah, for the brief amount of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Brenda is getting full on, violated in the van. One lizard eats the head off of a parakeet.
Yeah.
And drinks the blood out of its head. I was like, bro, again, second animal to get a third animal to get brutally fucked up.
When you live in the desert, there's not enough fresh blood to go around. So when you get it, you enjoy it.
Sure.
You know?
I'll take your word for it, Mark. But then he goes and beats Jupiter, and he's like, you got to be a man to do that. And then he goes in and does his thing with Brenda, and the way they shoot it, again, very visceral, very intense. I was very uncomfortable during this scene, as I should be.
Yeah. I thought it was shot very well, though. You don't see a lot of it. It's not graphic in the way of just in your face.
When he grabs her thighs and starts pulling them apart, I was like, I was like, ooh, I'm out. This is so unnerving to me.
Right.
But yeah, the rest of it was done.
But it's
It
not
was more implied than shown.
Correct.
Yeah.
Lynn comes in to the camper.
Yeah.
And she immediately is like, oh, shit. Knows she just walked into something bad. And one of them goes after her. And I think she's trying to protect the baby, so she's not making any crazy movements.
Yeah, because Jupiter, after being told he can't rape Brenda, goes and finds the baby, and he's holding the baby. And she's like, no. I don't know if it's Lynn or the mom, but one of them basically startles Jupiter, and he drops that baby. I rewound it 3 times.
So when the mom comes, so it's coming up, because Jupiter basically is like, all right, I won't kill your baby. He doesn't say this. It's all through acting, but I'm going to need to rape you too. Really fucked up.
And he starts getting, fresh with her, if you will.
Yeah.
And she grabs a screwdriver and puts it through his leg, right?
Yes. And this is when the mom comes in.
Lizard.
Yeah.
Not
Lizard,
Jupiter.
sorry.
Jupiter
Yes.
Did they switch places again?
So Jupiter's going to go, after he finds the baby, Lizard's like, give me that. And then, he goes over and Jupiter's going to mess with Brenda. And then Lizard's got the baby because Lynn stabs Lizard in the thigh with a screwdriver and is jamming it around. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing the hand motions. I don't know why. And he's like, son of a bitch. And he drops that baby, blows the mom back across the camper through the stomach.
The mom had picked up a big rock. And she was going to bash it into Lizard's head.
She was just too slow.
Didn't make it.
There's a lot going on in this scene.
It was dude,
sorry, audience. We're all over the place, but it's intense and wild.
that guy shot her with a rocket. I don't understand how she went flying. I mean, she flew back 35 feet.
I mean, that's a high caliber gun. I mean, getting shot like that, you're going to definitely fall back, but you're not going to fly across the camper.
No, you'd crumple or
She's
get
on a
knocked
pulley
over.
system of some kind.
Was it a shotgun?
No,
it was
a
a handgun.
hand cannon.
It's just a handgun?
Yeah.
It was a big hand cannon. Think the Magnum from Resident Evil, bro.
Okay, gotcha.
And then he also turns around and shoots Brenda, who's this
in
whole
the fucking head.
Not Brenda, Lynn.
Lynn, right. He shoots Lynn in the head because she's been very dumb. This whole time, she's still just fucking around with that screwdriver in his leg. It's pull it out and stab him somewhere else, man.
Keep stabbing. Stop wiggling.
But
anyway, she gets shot to the head, and boom, she's Dunsville.
And this is very abrupt and shocking.
Yes.
I will say that I forgot to just boom, boom, right, one after the other.
As they hear the shots, Bobby is all like, what's going on back at the camper, and starts working his way back to the camper. Bobby has basically gone full I'm going to kill everybody. It's revenge time. I don't know why this transition happened the way it did, but he's pissed. So he runs back, and as he's running back to the camper, Jupiter and Lizard have taken the baby, and they're running off. Bobby fires a bunch of shots at him, completely nowhere near him.
Wasting ammo. It's dude, there's multiple times where it's stop, aim, and shoot.
Yeah.
Dude. Stop running and blind firing.
When that comes later, what is he doing?
I get it. Emotions running high, but it seems like you were trained for pistol shooting already.
He's a kid.
I know, but I feel like Big Bob probably took him to some ranges.
Well, he did. He said he's been trained. But
But
Threw the training out the window.
Training and reality are
Exactly.
two different, especially when you're I was like, oh, you're so dumb. But I was like, well, I was an idiot at his age too, so I get it.
So anyway, he goes after firing blindly. Doug comes back in, and they're like, "There's nothing we can do for Bob." They cut him off the tree. He falls down dead.
Smoke coming out of the mouth. I was like, that's the proof that Bob is gone if you needed it.
Well, that's the one thing I think they say is the reason you die from burning is you inhale the flame and shit like that, and it burns your insides, and you fucking die from that shit.
That seems the worst way to go.
Yeah, I don't want to burn alive.
No, thank you.
Yeah, they definitely should. I just capped him. But anyway, so naturally, Bobby's like, we need to go out there and go find them and kill them. They have your baby. Why are you being a little bitch? And Doug's like, we need a plan. All right, calm down. And they get in a little scuffle, but ultimately they're like, okay.
Dad's right. You are a pussy.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
Just because you don't want to go run out in the dark to these people that wiped out half your family in like 35 seconds, it's probably a good idea to regroup a little bit here. I think we hear Beast attack a mutant. We see and hear him attack a mutant because this is where you get the walkie-talkie outside of the camper. And then they go out and they see just like a arm left.
So this was confusing. Okay, so we're back at the camper with Bobby, Doug, and Brenda.
Yes.
They're the only ones left alive at this point.
The Brady Bunch.
They hear noises outside, and Bobby blind fires 3 shots because he hears walkie-talkie talk.
Yeah.
They open the door to the camper, and there's an arm on the ground. I was like, did Bobby just shoot the arm off a guy?
I assume Beast brought it back because we hear Beast do an attack in the distance earlier.
Okay.
We hear, but we don't actually see it.
Right. And so then they do the second stupidest thing in the movie. They like give up the whole tactical advantage of being able to listen in to these monsters by
Give me back my son.
yeah, Doug picks it up and just starts yelling at him. Why are you doing this? Like they're gonna have a rational explanation.
Give me back my baby.
Give me back my baby.
Like, dude, listen, just shut up and listen so you can know where they are and what they're doing. Yeah.
That was a very bad move. And then we just hear the baby crying over the radio. Also, the guy missing the arm was under the trailer, and they blind fire down into the ground and kill him through the floorboard.
Okay, so I was confused by that because I didn't know that was a guy missing the arm. Because at one point, Bobby's in the car, in the trailer, like looking around, and Doug's outside, and he like motions to Bobby like below you, and then Bobby goes blah 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 below the trailer and kills the guy. But I didn't know where that dude came from. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Same. I didn't put 2 and 2 together,
Anyway,
but that makes sense.
This scene is furious. Like once it starts, it does not slow down. We are taking out half our cast. We're going hard. It is nonstop, balls to the wall insanity. But yes, as you said, at this point, Doug is like, okay, well, I'm going to go take care of this. You take care of Brenda because she's been through something. They don't really seem to give Brenda the time of fucking day as this is all going on. I feel like maybe take a moment and be like, hey, are you all right?
Well, she's definitely not all right.
No.
No. She's fucked. She's going to need years of therapy at this point.
They end up throwing the bodies of their sister and mother into the truck or something.
Yeah.
Closing the door.
The SUV part of it, which is going to smell terrible in the Texas or the fucking desert sun.
But Beast is going on his own revenge tale.
Yeah, I want to watch that
Separate
movie.
from this fucking movie. Because Beast finds the gutted beauty. There's a moment where the dog finds the dead dog, and it's like, oh, that's fucking sad.
Ties a bandana around his head.
By GraveTalk's hammer, you shall be avenged.
He ends up tearing another one's throat out. I think his name was Goggles. And he had like no nose. He
Yeah.
kind of looked
That's
like...
the dude who was laughing and eating the dog leg earlier.
Yeah.
So the dog was like, you ate her leg? I'm going to eat you.
Bro, Beast, man, he is a beast.
I don't mean to assign gender. I don't know which one's which, but you know.
I think back then you could tell Beauty was the girl
Yeah.
and Beast was the male.
We were not that progressive in 2006.
Nope, not yet.
Fuck it. All right.
But after all this action, the movie slams the brakes now, which I guess they're like, okay, we need to give the audience time
you
to...
had to give us a moment to breathe.
Sure, but they gave us multiple moments because now we get to watch Bobby walk through nuclear fallout town. Doug, sorry, for like 10 minutes it felt like. And every room's the same with creepy mannequins. I'm like, all right, I get it. I don't...
Well, they didn't think you got it yet, so we got to do more establishment shots.
I really liked this because I really thought it built up that whole like desolate, there is a community, although it be a fucked up, wild, weird community they've created. Like they're living in this manufactured environment.
It's a test site.
Yeah. It felt like
it's the
padding.
1950s mannequin families standing
They wanted to see
still and
what
all the
bomb
windows.
effects would do.
The stupidest mannequin setup I saw was there was a woman with a baby of maybe 1 year old playing Chinese checkers. I was like, that wouldn't happen in real life, you dumb movie.
Yeah. They'd play regular checkers at a year old. Come on.
Yeah, what babies do you have that can understand black, red, and colors?
That's the Bobby Fischer of mannequins.
I'm regularly beat by 1 year olds in checkers.
Well,
Chinese and American.
You may want to practice a little harder, buddy.
Keep trying to eat the pieces.
Anyway, as
King me eats 2 pieces. That's how this works.
As Doug is wondering through this, we cut back to Bobby and Brenda. Brenda decided she's going to burn a tire to try to get someone to notice them, so the black smoke will go up in the air. Honestly, not the worst idea. I'm on board with you, Brenda.
Bobby's
Bobby
not.
has decided to make a tripwire trap all around the campsite. So if anyone comes running back, it'll shake a baby rattle of the missing baby.
Pretty clever, to be honest. Way
Honestly,
to go, Bobby.
neither one of these are bad ideas. At this point, I was like, okay, I'm on board for the Bobby Brenda, survival story here.
At least somebody got some use out of that fishing pole that Doug brought back.
I thought Doug was a goner at this point. I was like, Doug's done for. He's
Well, that's
not
what the
getting
movie
that
had set
baby
him
back.
up as. It's like he's the bumbling idiot who's going to go out and die.
Right.
As brutal as this movie was, I thought he was going to walk in on them eating their baby. I honestly did. I was like, that baby is Dunsky. Like, there's no way this baby survives this movie.
I was giving it 50-50, but only because they had set Ruby up to be like a good one, like a good guy or a good person.
I thought this would be the moment that pushed Ruby over the edge, though. They're eating the baby, and she's like, I can't eat the baby. And then she's like, Doug, I'm going to get you out of here. And she's going to basically help Doug escape.
Okay, I could have seen that, yeah.
Or she goes back and gets Brenda and Bobby, like helps them escape, knowing that Doug didn't succeed in his mission. She's like, I got to get these two out of here at least. And that's what I thought was going to happen. I think that would have been a little more intense and a little bit more of a payoff because Bobby and Brenda have been through some shit.
I think that'd have
Doug
been-
has been through some shit. I mean, he only had his baby taken.
I wonder what the MPAA
That's
would
some
say.
shit, though, man.
Yeah. And his wife's
you can't
dead.
You can't just wave that away.
His wife was raped and shot in the head, and his baby was
Well,
kidnapped.
his wife wasn't raped. His wife was just shot in the
Sexually
head.
assaulted. I mean, he was like, he was
It was
breastfeeding a
on-
mutant
Oh,
unwillingly.
God, I forgot about that. The mutant was breastfeeding
Yeah.
on the pregnant lady. That's why I thought she was also pregnant, too. But I guess you can do that. Never mind. Anyway, I don't know enough about birth, no babies, okay? The point is, they fucking linger on that scene for a long time. I was like, Jesus, this movie is going
So I think
hard.
that qualifies as rape. But,
You're right.
So-
I'm not gonna argue about that. I just forgot about that part.
Which is fine. Yeah, blank that shit out of your memory. That was unnecessary. But so he has gone through
She's
some
just
shit.
chilling with it too. Like, what do I do here? I'm like, you punch, you kick,
Well,
you stretch.
he's trying to protect their baby, right? So she's like, okay, if he's doing this, then he's not hurting my kid.
I guess I take a different perspective. If he's willing to do that, they're willing to fucking kill a baby. I would gouge an eye out.
But I think he would have taken her out and then taken the baby
Yeah.
anyway.
So anyway, Doug is in Shantytown, wherever the fuck it is.
Yes, it's the houses they built around the bomb sites to simulate what it would look like if a nuclear bomb went off near you. Beast has followed a blood trail all the way to this town, I think,
Yeah.
is how he found it.
Yes, because he uses Beast as a tracking dog to find this town. They
Yeah.
follow the blood trail because he actually walkie-talkies back. He's like, I followed the blood trail. I found a town. And the thing is, Bobby and Brenda don't hear him because they're setting up their traps.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
they have no idea what's going on.
At first, I'm like, oh, this is just empty. But no, there's a house with a generator running outside of it. He looks inside and sees his baby just laying on a bed. He's like, bingo. He crawls inside the house.
There's a mutant with a head neck brace thing with a shotgun who almost catches him, but he manages to outwit that dude. Is this where he gets knocked out by the
Yeah, he
woman?
finds the baby and then immediately gets captured.
Well, because he sees a woman like combing a wig, and she's in a chair. She's one of the mutant women.
She's watching an old television like Donahue or some weird talk show. He thinks he's going to make it out, but no. Slammed in the face. Now he finds himself waking up inside of a meat fridge
Yeah.
It's like one of those like ice cream coolers that you see in gas stations and stuff.
full of body parts.
This would fuck me up.
Yeah.
This would what would send me into full like survival Rambo mode. Like if I was surrounded by like mutilated bodies and stuff like that, I'd be like, all right, it's time to go crazy and just go out in a blaze of glory.
And that's what happens with Doug.
Yeah.
He's banging and banging and he can't get out of there. He finally knocks the lock off of this fridge, busts out, and has his first blood moment. He becomes Rambo.
Sort of, except he's still like totally like unprepared, which I thought was great to keep him like not a total badass, like it'd be unrealistic if he suddenly became like a stone cold killer. But he just seemed very like, I still got to get my baby, like very like kind of calm. And I was like, dude, I'd be like full insane.
So when he gets out of the meat fridge, he goes into the living room of the house. Big Bob's corpse is sitting there with American flag jammed down his throat.
Yeah, and the Star Spangled Banner's playing.
No, it's the mutant. He's off camera singing the national anthem.
National, yeah.
So he rounds the corner, and this is where we get our whole story dump
For
about
the third time.
Where's my daughter? Where is she? Answer me.
I don't know where she is. I never leave this place. Your people asked our families to leave their town, and you destroyed our homes. We went into the mines You set off your bombs and turned everything to ashes. You made us what we've become.
I can see it from your perspective, but you still are monster cannibal people.
Oh, Rubber Johnny?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Big Brain, I think, is his character.
Big Brain, yeah.
It is Big Brain. But, like, this was creepy. This was my favorite part of the movie because I was like, oh, we're going to get some exposition. We're going to get a little bit of, like, tension build up. And we did. We got all of that.
Was it enough?
I think so.
Okay.
Honestly, you don't need to delve too much into the whole, like, explosion, like, test site stuff like that. We've got... They've bludgeoned us with it at this point. We get the gist of it. I did enjoy how Big Brain was very much kind of like, you're not getting out of here. Like, he at no point, like, he's like, starts laughing. He's like, what are you laughing at? And he's like, it's feeding time.
It's breakfast time.
Breakfast time. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, man, that's his tag phrase, like a tagline or what catchphrase. There we go.
His tag phrase.
And I can think from behind him or through a wall or something, bust Pluto.
Yeah.
Through the back door. Yeah. Pluto busts in. And Pluto is massive. Pluto is like a monster. And just starts throwing Doug against the walls and shoving him through walls and stuff like that. And
chasing him with an axe. And I give Doug a props for dodging that axe like 42 times in this fight. Mm-hmm. It is a hell of a fight. I can't believe Doug is even standing by the end of it. But he does get his fingers chopped off in this fight.
There's one part that this always happens in movies. And I don't know if you guys have ever like been in a situation where you're trying to run away and someone's like stopping you. If you're running up the stairs and someone grabs your foot and you're laying on the stairs and someone pulls you downstairs, you are at such a disadvantage. You're not getting away from a strike.
Oh, yeah. The whole time I was like, why not just use your other hand to kill him right now? Where was he even pulling him to?
He was holding the rail with one hand, and the other hand, I think, was the one missing fingers.
Yeah, but I'm talking about Pluto. He was only pulling him with one leg, and then he had his axe hand just doing nothing.
Just swing.
Yeah, just swing and kill him.
You've got him literally held in position. But anyway, if you've ever been on the stairs like that, you are at such a disadvantage. If you get pulled down, you can't get up, you can't move. It's very difficult to maneuver. But anyway.
But Beast comes to the rescue. And
Beast attacks that dude, and then Doug just runs off like, he's your problem now. I was like, damn.
Well, there was a moment before he goes into the house that he put Beast in the car, and I was like, you just left that dog to die.
Yeah.
Man,
Yes.
if someone wanders by and sees a German Shepherd in
Crack
a car.
window. It's hot out there.
That also, extreme heat advisory. Don't leave your dog indoors in a car, not running.
Doug's the worst. The worst.
He's pretty bad. But anyway, it kind of pissed me off though, because the dog like definitely gives Doug the advantage at this point, and Doug just runs away. Like, dude, starts stabbing Pluto in the face.
He runs into the bathroom and pushes the tub against the door.
That was a nice bathtub though.
Yeah, and then you hear poor Beast like whimper as he gets thrown off of Pluto, and I was like, oh, if they fucking killed Beast, I'm gonna be so pissed.
I said the same thing, dude. Like, if you're gonna murder another dog this late in the movie, 1 star.
Yeah.
You're getting 1 star.
If there's an animal alive, it's not going to make it.
Through the fucking wall. Boom. Pluto comes through the wall.
Because you expect him to come to the door where the tub is.
Yeah.
But instead, he comes to the wall next to him.
Great moment.
Yeah, I love that.
This house is made of papier-mâché, okay? I know it's paper-mâché, but anyway.
It just barely looks like a house.
French director, okay? I'm calling it papier-mâché.
Perfect.
So, yeah, he busts through, and they're fighting. I think this is where he loses the fingers,
Yeah,
right?
this is where he loses the finger.
Yeah.
And then he manages to... Fingers. He loses all the fingers on his hand.
2.
2? Is it just 2?
It's like 2 or 3, but yeah, he gets to keep his pointer finger.
Enough fingers. Too many fingers. I'll tell you that.
If you lose any fingers, that's too many.
Exactly. A non-optimal amount of fingers. But he does manage to get a screwdriver and stab Pluto in the foot.
After fake out. So Doug is on his knees after hiding under a table. They're all basically just laughing at him. He's like, please don't kill me. And like Pluto turns around and looks at Big Brains like, get a load of this guy.
Please don't kill me. They're like mocking him.
Yeah. And then Doug grabs that screwdriver and jams it right through the foot.
This I have a problem with. Pluto has basically taken a beating. He has been stabbed. He has been punched. He has been hit in the face. He's like, I mean, you name it. This shit has happened to this dude, and he has not been stunned. He gets a screwdriver through the foot, and he's like, the inhumanity. Like, he just can't function anymore. And don't get me wrong, getting stabbed in the foot would suck. But compared to some of the other like hits he's taken previously, I was like, bro, shake it off.
But think about Doug. He was also fighting him with a baseball bat. The bat gets snapped in half.
Oh, he stabs him in the stomach.
And Doug stabs Pluto in the stomach. And
Pluto pulls it out as if it's not even a thing.
And cracks Doug in the face with the handle part of the bat.
But that's what I'm saying, though, because doesn't he does he stab him in the stomach before he screwdrivers?
Yes.
him?
Yeah, that's free.
That's what I'm saying. He like pulls a bat handle out of his gut, like, yeah, it is but a scratch.
Right.
And then he gets stabbed in the foot with a tiny screwdriver, and he's like, stop it, time out. And I'm just like, bro, shake it off and kill this guy.
Look, I think we just discovered Pluto's mutant powers.
It's his Achilles heel.
Yeah. So after the screwdriver to the foot, Doug manages to go over to Big Bob's carcass, pull out the American flag, and jams it through the back of Pluto's neck through his throat. Then he picks up Pluto's axe and chops him in the head.
Yep.
And these effects were really gory and awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say? Foot, throat, head means they're dead.
That's what they say. You're absolutely right there, John.
So Beast returns and kills Big Brain. I was happy about that. While the dad goes off to find his child. But during the fight, Big Brain had radioed to somebody, I don't know all these people's names, and Lizard is like, kill the baby.
Lizard's on his way to get the baby. We find out that Ruby, the little girl, has stolen the baby and run off with it. Doug, as he's working his way back to the room, the things I say in
Nursery.
this podcast, like encounters like neck brace guy, Cyst, kills that dude. He gets there around the same time that Lizard does, and they have a whole tussle. And I don't remember exactly what happens, but man, Lizard kind of gets messed up.
So when Lizard goes to kill the baby, he pulls back a blanket and it's a pig. Meanwhile, back at the camper, a completely different mutant is tripping the wire. And Brenda and Bobby have made out an entire plan to just, whenever one of these mutants get in the camper, they're going to blow him the fuck up.
Holy shit, I forgot about this scene.
Yeah, so they
What was the point of this?
I don't know, dude.
Blow up the camper with a propane tank and have a mutant inside of it.
And what do you do after that, though? That's the question. Like,
Yeah.
that's your big plan?
Doesn't really seem like a good trade. All of their equipment for one mutant.
They've taped some matches to the sliding door of the camper. So what's supposed to happen is when the mutant comes in, he slides the matches across the adhesive, lights it. They've turned all the gas stove on at full,
Propanes, yeah, it's just leaking into the camper.
and it's going to go off like a bomb.
This is a terrible plan. So many things had to go right for this to happen. They had to capture the mutant and basically like handcuff him for a few minutes, sneak out of the camper unseen, get far enough away, and then hope that when the mutant gets out, it opens the door correctly
Right.
Well, they
to go
tie-
in the camper.
They tie the mutant to a window so he can see inside the camper. So he sees them climb out the fucking thing. Bro, there's no reason to go in the camper at this point. Walk around the side of the camper. Solved.
I started laughing immediately because step number one was to crawl out the window, and they're like, it's jammed. I'm like, you idiots didn't open it first? But instead, the mutant goes through the window and starts choking Brenda out. And that's when they manage to zip tie his arms around,
Yeah,
or
they
bungee
kinda
tie his
bungee tie,
arms
yeah.
to the trailer. And then you're right. Then he had to not have noticed that they escaped the camper in midday
So-
with nothing around. It is a desert.
With him looking directly at them, it's like making eye
watching them inside. And it's just like, bro.
so then he
eye
goes,
contact as they're sneaking out the window.
then he turns around and goes and opens the door, and boom, he's blown away, but not killed.
And we're talking a Hurt Locker level explosion
It's
here.
huge.
Like, these kids would have had internal damage from the size of this explosion.
Yeah. Now, we didn't mention that this particular mutant was eating the corpse of the mom.
Oh,
was
yeah.
he?
Yeah.
classic.
Because at some point, Brenda starts freaking out. I was like, they took mom. They took mom.
Oh, that's right, because they see the bodies are missing. That's how
Yeah.
they're like, as they're running back to the camper, they're like,
Yeah.
the bodies are gone.
And this is where Bobby wastes a lot of ammunition.
For no reason.
He could have turned around, stopped, pointed, fired, and killed this guy without blowing up his camper, had he used
Or-
his training.
Climb into the camper, sit across from the door. When the door opens, blap, blap.
Yeah.
Kill Bill did that shit perfectly. Remember that? When she gets shot in the chest with rock salt?
At any point in time, he could have stopped and killed this person without blowing up their whole shit. But that wouldn't have been as good of a movie. That explosion was dope.
He's not even dead, though. He's like, he flew across the screen and he's impaled on something. And then he starts grabbing at somebody's boot, and then Brenda comes over and just hacks him in the head or something.
Brenda has to get her revenge for being assaulted.
It's like that scene in Jason in Space. Like, you're going to have to do better than that. Oh, that'll do it.
And so we cut back to Ruby running back with the baby. I can't remember.
She runs into the dad. So she's running one way, the dad's running the other. Doug. And he has a shotgun. So he's like, fucking put the baby down. And Ruby's like, no, I'm here to help.
Yeah, through actions alone, no dialogue.
Yeah.
She like offers up the baby and he gets it like, oh, okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate this. But right before he grabs the baby, Lizard jumps off the top of the
fucking
canyon.
Spider-Man just
whap. And then has his whip of spikes.
It was the road spikes they used to pop the tires earlier. Now he's using it as a fucking whip.
Doug would be so dead.
Oh yes, so
dead.
The 3 times he gets hit with this thing, I was like slashed wide open.
Yeah, like right in the face one time. We see it and we hear it like this
to the
thunk.
bone. That's to the bone. Those things are so heavy, you'd be fucked up.
Doug is running on sheer determination at this point. Okay,
determination, nothing. Doug would have been down for the count.
Yes, he would have. I wrote, Doug is not well. He's gone through a lot of shit.
That's true.
Well, Doug manages to come back and he puts a couple shotgun rounds into Lizard. But this is a horror movie, and Lizard can't be dead yet. We got one more thing to do. So after Doug takes the baby back from Ruby, we see Lizard.
Take that baby back.
Oh, yeah. Doug had just thrown his shotgun aside next to the dead body of Lizard, in quotes.
That happened, and I immediately was like, "You fucking moron! You and that baby deserve to die."
Yeah,
and I know that's not fair to put that on the baby, but this baby's going to be raised by Doug, so it's also going to be terrible. So no, I just couldn't deal with it.
Doug took the time to walk up to Lizard's body, kick it, and he had the gun trained. Just shoot him in the head.
Yeah, what are you saving bullets for?
The
Especially
coup de grace.
Yeah.
To put it in French.
Perfect. Lizard now has the shotgun. He's aiming at Doug and the baby. And
From the edge of a cliff.
yeah. And in a moment of sheer sacrifice, Ruby goes and tackles Lizard off the face cliff. They fall to their death.
I hated this.
Yeah, my notes go, I'm Team Ruby, not Ruby.
Mine says Ruby. Why?
I was like, man, Doug, you should take Ruby home with you and raise her. Give her a better life.
I thought that's where this was going.
Because the thing is, fake Dick Miller at the beginning, I'm sorry, actor, I can't remember your name, is all like, this is no place for a kid. And Ruby seems like the only one with a conscience who's not like bought into the full cannibal lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, cool. Her with her fucked up past, Brenda with her now fucked up situation, Doug with Bobby with his fucked up situation, and Doug who now has basically learned to take control and basically own, like, being a leader / man,
right?
Like, is now going to like help raise all these fucked up kids. That's an 80s sitcom we need right there. But
well, this family that's been rent to pieces can put itself back together and make a new
story of a bunch of kids.
And now we got a new family unit.
Yeah.
But that's not what the movie chooses.
No, they kill poor Ruby.
It's the family that you make, not the family that you just...
It's true.
I can't even say it with a straight face. Anyway, yes, I was very pissed off that Ruby sacrificed herself to knock Lizard off the edge. I was like, why, Ruby? Like, it's just not... It was not right.
It was a weak choice in the movies, the writing.
Yeah.
I get it. You have to button it up. But at the same time, it's like, man.
And Doug returns to the site of their bombed out camper.
With Beast.
With Beast.
Yes, most importantly, Beast makes it.
With Beast and Baby.
Because we didn't talk about how Beast attacked Big Head in the chair.
We did.
Yeah.
Oh, did we?
Very briefly.
Yeah, I just mentioned it. Because we don't really see it, we just hear it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Oh, but it sounds gruesome.
It was right after he says, kill the baby over the walkie-talkie. I guess Beast knows English, and he's like, not in my house.
It gave me some Green Room flashbacks, because I just watched that movie recently.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God, dog attacks to the neck and shit. It got to be, ugh.
It's rough. So the question is how do they escape now? They blew up their camper. Their truck is ruined. And now it's just Brenda, Bobby, Beast, and Baby.
They $6 million man that shit.
And Doug.
I assume they walked to the gas station and used the car
That wasn't working?
well, yeah.
We don't know what happens because then we get goggle vision again. It zooms in on our remaining protagonist and cut. End of movie.
So there's still more mutants out there.
What happens in 2? I guess we'll find.
It's completely unrelated to them.
Oh, so they don't even... So we don't know.
I think it follows around a squad of army trainees.
Why?
Okay.
What is it with fucking the army and horror movies?
I don't know.
The only thing I think of is maybe people think that, like, oh, it's a squad. A, we're not going to feel as bad as stuff happens to them. A, it gives them ability to, like, function as, like, functional people to, like, fight a situation like this. Also, in our minds, military expendable, which is not a great way to think. But, like, in our minds, if they get killed, like, okay, big deal.
Or it could also be that when we think military, we think trained, more efficient and better at killing. Maybe our antagonists are feeling a little too overpowered and one-sided. We want to get somebody to kind of equalize that a little bit.
But if they're trainees, I've never seen this, but here's my guess. First person to die is their drill instructor or whatever, the only competent one. And then they start going, man, we weren't trained for this. I only joined 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, let's just say that's probably what happens without watching it.
Almost certainly.
Well, I would give this one a 3-star. I enjoyed it. I think the action, the blood, the gore, the mutants, the special effects and makeup work, all pretty well done in my opinion. Yes, there's a moment or two, like you said, the fingers look a little fake when they get chopped off. But
speaking of fingers, when fucking Lizard is doing his thing to Brenda and he like holds his hand up and sniffs his fingers and goes fresh, I was like, oh. It was so grody.
Yeah. Ugh.
I appreciate them not going light on the mutant behavior. I mean, I don't need to see so much of it, but like you really got to feel for like, okay, yeah, these people need to go.
Yeah, I feel like these people were bad people before they were mutants. They're just bad people who happen to be mutants. They're not bad because they're mutants. I think that even if they weren't mutants, they'd still react this way. They're just terrible humans.
It would have been interesting if a little mutant was like on a porch with a banjo.
No.
I do need to make one amendment. So Hills Have Eyes 2 was written by Wes Craven and his son, but not directed.
Oh, no. Okay. Was it directed by this guy?
Martin Wise.
He'd be wise to avoid the movie.
I gave it 3 stars. I think this one's worth checking out.
I would say I'm going to put it at 2.5. Again, we're on a 5-star rating, guys. 3 stars is like a competently middle of the road movie. Mm-hmm. And while I do think this movie is enjoyable, there's enough of an issue for it. Like I wish I would watch it in a different movie at times. I did enjoy it though. I would recommend it. I just don't know if I'd give it a high rating.
I rated this one 2 stars, and I stand by that. It was competent, but I would never ever watch this movie again.
But John, let me ask you a question. Do you feel it's because of the 2006 filmmaking aspect of it, or do you feel that it's actually like story itself?
I think that there were 2 long periods of time where nothing moved the plot forward. And I think we were supposed to be feeling like, getting to know these characters and these families, so we feel bad when all these terrible events happen to them. But I just didn't like them.
There should have been a few moments in those long 30-minute scenes where we're like family living, where there's a breakthrough, where, you know, the dad goes up and is like, you know what, I'm not thrilled that you married my daughter, but I at least appreciate that you're like taking care of my kid and you're financially set. Like, there should have been something to basically, like, even at the strife, there should have been something to endear us to the fact that this is still a tight family unit. Even if it is kind of a little dysfunctional, there should be something there. Brenda should have basically gone up to Bobby and been like, I'm so sorry to hear about, you know, Beauty. Or, you know,
there was a moment. There was one moment, and it's as the mom is dying, she says, I know why Lynn likes you. You're such a nice guy. That's the acceptance you're looking for, but Bob died too soon.
Yeah.
Again, it happens once we're losing all these characters. At this point, I have no connection to like them dying. I'm just like, well, that's a bummer for them. You know, like, again, I need to care about this family unit before we get to this point.
Or interspace it with like more of just seeing the mutants' day in the life, you know, or something that just, I found it boring. I found large parts of it, I was just bored.
Or if Doug had been a little bit more like trying to like please the dad, been like, okay, yeah, show me how to shoot. And he's like, damn it, Doug, you're doing it all wrong. Here, let me show you, blah, blah, blah. I mean, even if it was like a contentious moment, show that this family unit is trying to bond and hold some kind of semblance of normalcy. Again, yes, that's my problem with it too, is I just didn't care enough about the characters.
Yeah, what I think the director might have been trying to do is go for...
Make fun of Americans?
Well, yeah. Like comparing these brief but super intense periods of like hyper violence and hyper gore, and then dial it back. And so you have this sort of compare and contrast situation, but I don't think it worked.
Also, it would have been interesting to, and maybe this is in the second one, or maybe in the original, a little bit more comparison between the cannibalistic family and the humans. Maybe have the same kind of dysfunction play out, to where maybe Big Brain has a problem with Jupiter, you know, like I wish you weren't even part of this clan, or, you know, like don't deep dive into like, you know, their daily task, but like have a little bit more of a mirror effect between the two different sides of the same coin almost. Family's family no matter where you flip it, but
I think about it, I kind of think I might like the original idea of they're not atomic radiated mutants. They're just people who choose to be assholes and terrible. Because like being mutants didn't really have any effect, I don't feel like, on these people. I think they were evil before they were mutants. I stand by that.
I think times got tough and you have to adapt to the situation at hand. But
yeah, but you don't have to become a cannibal. That seems unnecessary.
if there was a little bit more of a revenge aspect of it, like they were doing it to get even for what happened to them, you know, a little bit more like we're taking out our anger and frustration on the normal world.
These are the descendants of people that lived out there. This is way too late in life for them to have been the people before the bomb and after the bomb.
True.
You know what I mean? They've grown up being feral.
Yeah, 40s.
And I like that atomic, like, kind of backdropping. I think it made it more interesting to me.
I agree.
So I don't think you should lose
If they were just hill people, I would not have cared. I would have been so disinterested. I'd be like, okay, hill people.
Yeah. That's more or less what Wes Craven was going for in his, is just showing how close to savagery we can be. Even though we pretend to be civil, you know, you have to become savage to beat the savages at their own game, kind of thing.
I just don't buy that. Maybe I still have too optimistic a view on human beings, but I don't believe we're all 35 seconds away from becoming cannibals. I just don't buy it.
No, not 35 seconds, more like 42.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, minute and a half at most.
And start your watches. We are on the clock, boys.
All right. Well,
Anyway, listeners, have you eaten human beings? Have you taken revenge for atomic testing? Have you? Oh, wait. Mark, you probably want to take this. I'm going to get real dark with it.
It's going good. Go ahead. Continue.
As always, thanks for listening to the episode. Thanks for listening to the GraveTalk podcast. We love the fact that you're out there. You know what? We haven't asked you to do this in a while, but if you're still with us here, go ahead and give us a rate and a review on the iTunes, the Spotifys, the SoundClouds. I don't know, wherever we are. Mark, you know we post these things.
Those are all correct.
Okay, cool. But yeah, it doesn't. I mean, it helps out a lot. It also, gets the word out there. Share the podcast with people. The more eyes we can get on the eyes. I guess this is an audio medium, so it'd be ears. But you can look at it too. We do some great cover art for each episode. If you haven't checked that out, go to thegravetalk.com. Anyway, thanks so much for listening. So the next episode is actually going to be, I guess what, the 1408, the John Cusack, Samuel L. Jackson flick. So that'll be our next movie. So 1408, be sure to get it watched.